Hello everyone, Brad Johnson here, and so I just finished another channeled writing with Adronis, and the topic we're going to discuss today relates to that of the human blank slating effect, so very much like the amnesia effect that we have when we come into this reality. So it's quite a fascinating channeling, and you can also find the archived transmission itself in PDF format in the video description if you want to take a look at it as well. So we'll go ahead and begin. I ask Adronis regarding the blank slating effect that we humans experience when coming onto the Earth plane. How does this blank slating happen, and is this something that will continue for many years to come? Adronis replies, "We acknowledge your query. We will state that the idea of blank slating has been included within the experiment of Earth as a means of significant learning. The idea to the blank slating effect relates to how humanity can dive into its own collective of thoughts, feelings, and actions and choices without the natural guidance of their own multiplicity of being, surpass the veil of a controlling technology that dampens your ability to connect to such multiplicities and still reach a state of harmony from within. One could see the idea of this blank slating as a particular technology. It could also be seen as a form of control agenda as well. However, that is one side of the coin, as it were. There is another side to this. As we have spoken in the past regarding the human experiment, only the most masterful of souls come to this planet to surpass the systems of confinement, change it from within, and liberate themselves by also serving as an example to that liberation effect for others. The idea of how the blank slating effect, as you term it, upon the Earth works is that primarily only humans are affected by it. Nature is not. Humans operate on specific bands of frequencies, and much of the technology that you will find on the Moon, as well as geometric orbits that work in cohesion with the technology through orbiting cycles of your planetary bodies, hold a type of grid in play that enables a soul to come into the human body and live out the experience of having a type of amnesia-based effect once they exit their mother's birth canal. Within the womb of the mother, the baby is not bombarded by the effects of the blank slating, as it were. The fluidic barrier of the mother is a membrane that connects the host body to the source energy that is responsible in developing the fetus, thereby allowing all significant genetic, mental, energetic, and karmic aspects through the being to become ingrained. It is once the baby leaves the birth canal and enters the world that they have been, shall we say, time-stamped into the collective reality of the blank slating effect. You must understand that your world holds a great deal of prisms within it, and this relates to the construct of your reality. Your entire star system is entirely configured in this way. Prisms that create an illusory image of what one believes reality is. If you were to travel to other star systems, and even other regions beyond this galaxy, you would understand that reality works far differently. I ask, can you give an example of how reality would work differently as it would compare to Earth? Adronis replies, we can. The idea is that when you move beyond the boundaries of the blank slating grid and geometric grid of the star system and enter a system that would be more natural in its cohesive living standard, shall we say, you would notice that you are actually operating through a multitude of perspectives simultaneously, like how you would understand looking at a photograph that has overlays of different frames on top of it. These all correlate to the multiplicity of existences that are native to your own soul's nature. For example, if Brad himself were to go to another galactic star system upon a specific craft and experience the orientation of that star system that is non-evasive, the effect of the experience through what Brad would perceive would be fluidic as it relates to possibilities foreseen prior to the making of choice. In other words, you would hold higher states of premonition cognition. You would be aware of other beings that hold relationship to you, sensing their thoughts and feelings, and the existence within reality would become much more multidimensionally fluidic in a manner of speaking. I say, so what you're saying, Adronis, is that our world is basically a collection of different technological prisms that distort or skew the view of the natural abilities we hold as a multidimensional being. Adronis replies, fundamentally correct. The idea of this amount of technology used upon your world all comes upon a specific control grid, or from another side of the coin, a masterful challenge/game that a soul has voluntarily signed up for as a means of cracking the shell that is projected through these prisms to discover their true multiplistic being, such as the journey that many of you are taking right now. So my question would be that if we would be existing within the amniotic fluid of our mother, even after leaving the womb, would this membrane become an immunity to the effects of the prisms that skew our reality? Adronis replies, it would be tangible to understand it in that way, yes. The membrane represents a vibratory coating, where you would experience much more of a connection to your source consciousness. Therefore, many of you may not be able to remember your time in the womb because of its different dimensional effects. Would that mean that being inside the womb would be like existing in fourth density? Adronis replies, not entirely, but it is more so a form of stasis, where the bombardment of the frequency of the world prisms would be unable to penetrate, as the womb is a stasis technology of natural development. As you mentioned, the moon would be one of the responsible catalysts in creating the blank slating effect. There have been people who have talked about some type of soul harvesters that exist on the moon, and that it collects our souls at the time of our physical passing. Does such a technology actually exist? Adronis replies, this idea is misconstrued. It is not a soul harvester, as a technology cannot control the passage or choosing of the soul's path, but it would be more suffice to say that it is a resonator that bombards the earth as per the frequencies that allow the prisms to shape this world into a singular illusion. Such technologies can do such tasks as specific manipulation of memories, but the soul is ageless, timeless, and eternal. It cannot be harvested by a means of technological force. All is choice, all is decision. That is the nature of the soul's path. Therefore, such a technology as a soul harvester does not exist, as it has been stated through other sources. We thank you for this interaction. We will now conclude. We will speak to you again, as now is forever, and all is one. All right, so that was the transmission with Adronis. So I'm noticing as well, too, that as I was channeling with the blank slating effect, there were also other ideas that were coming in at the same time that channeled writing was coming through. And that, yes, it's absolutely true that there are some people who can remember their past lives. It's kind of like a Swiss cheese effect, simply because a lot of the work that many souls have done, either on this world in quote-unquote previous incarnations, or again on other planets, have basically created an activity or enabling of certain DNA within their own body that allows them to basically function very similar to the membrane of the amniotic fluid that basically blocks out these particular types of frequencies. And so there are certain genes, certain genetics, certain codons that fire up, and this is what allows certain people to remember specific lifetimes elsewhere. There are, again, other people who may also recall some of their experience within the womb. I actually have about like a 5-second memory of being inside my mother's womb. So there are those particular types of Swiss cheese effects. So basically, not everybody is affected by the idea of this 100% blank slating. In fact, now more so. There are more people that are starting to realize that they have existences in other worlds, becoming more familiar with their lifetimes previous to this one on Earth, and otherwise. So that is, again, all part of the effect that we are experiencing as DNA is activating, and we're actually getting these forms of recall and basically bypassing a lot of these particular prismatic frequencies that are causing the singularity of this illusion. So that was also something that was taking place during the time that I was also receiving this channeled writing. So again, it's a really powerful, amazing topic. One of the other questions I had for Adronis was about fourth density, and if we're going to have this continued experiment in the times ahead. The overall feeling, again, was that no. The idea of how, when we move into becoming a fourth density civilization, the idea of the barriers pertaining to the moon and the geometric aspects of the star system would not play an effect on the new fourth density Earth, but it would still play a part in the third density Earth. So that's basically a channeled part of the writing that I didn't get to. But basically, as it's coming through right now, this would not be something that is long-term. For those that graduate into fourth density, there will not be a prismatic-based planet Earth that is based upon a control grid. That is part of a third density self orientation of experiment. When we move into fourth density is going to be devoid of that particular type of bombarding prismatic matrix. So that's something I'm just adding on, as it did not get into this particular transmission. All right, so that is it for this channeled writing on the human blank slating effect. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to speaking to you all again in another perspective of the now. Take care. Namaste.